Yesterday, I did a video on DeepSeek and kind of explained the significance of DeepSeek for professionals, business professionals, lawyers, entrepreneurs, managers who want to use AI tools to 10x at work. That's our community, is real people who want to figure out how they're going to not only survive in the age of AI at work, but thrive in the age of AI at work. Yesterday, some of the points I made, we're going to circle back on and expand on, but one I want to hit today is the final the final conclusion is you should not be using DeepSeek for any business purpose. You should not be putting any confidential information into DeepSeek. And the reason why is the privacy policy for DeepSeek indicates that they're going to use your input and output to train their models, and they're going to share it with advertisers. They could basically do whatever they want with your input and output. So that means anything you put into the system could get spit back out to someone else, even a competitor. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. Yesterday, there was some problems, and the day before, there were some problems with gaining access to DeepSeek. There was some indication that maybe it was just user overload, but then ultimately it was determined that, in fact, there was a data breach of DeepSeek. So not only can they use your information, but third-party malicious actors had breached their databases and gained access to login information potentially, or certainly input and output to a variety of different data that you would presume to be secured. So let's just break this up for a minute into pieces. You know that I've done a dozen videos talking about data privacy and confidentiality, that we have no choice as business professionals but to use AI tools, or we're simply going to be left behind. That if you're not already leaning into AI, if you're not figuring out how AI works, if you're not figuring out how to use the best tools, you're already way behind, because there are lawyers, business professionals like me who are using these tools every day as power users, and we're 5x as good as or better than we've ever been before in our entire career. So we know how good we were and we know how good we are. So if we were competitive with you before, we've now left you in the dust. So you have to use these tools. So which tools do you use? And I've done a lot of videos talking about how to vet the various vendors, advising do not use any third-party tools that are not big companies with really secure data security, because it's not only whether or not they're using your data to train, it's whether or not their data can be breached by third parties and accessed and compromised. So no, you should not be using all of these hundreds of new tools that keep coming out every day in your industry niche that are startups, because they may not have the data security. And if they're working on an OpenAI API, they can still intercept your input and output between your desktop and what's going on with OpenAI and providing its model to third parties to build upon. So you have to be extremely careful. I just use the biggest ones: Gemini, Claude, OpenAI, and I've done a lot of videos showing you how to set up the security settings so that they don't train on your confidential data. We know those companies take data security and privacy very seriously, because if they didn't, if there were instances where you had your security settings up to do not train on my data, or they had a data security breach, they would take a huge hit in the market. There are such severe consequences for them of failing in the data security and privacy area, that they're going to do it as well as any other cloud service that you're already using. I use Fireflies.ai for transcription, very substantial company. Beyond that, I try and stay away from third-party vendors. So let's take a look at what happened with DeepSeek and show you why my recommendation is for business professionals to dabble with DeepSeek, but do not put any private or confidential information, certainly no business information, into this tool. So basically, there was a third party that was able to access the servers of DeepSeek and exposed information which was housed within an open source data management system called ClickHouse and consisted of 1 million log lines. And the investigation, as reported at The Verge, and as noted by a company called Wiz Security Researchers, they were able to expose full database control and potential privilege escalation within the DeepSeek environment. So this test that was done on their servers showed that bad access actors could access the startup's internal systems. And this is the problem with these new and emerging hyped technologies is they're not ready for prime time yet. They may have developed a cheaper, more efficient model, but have they had to go back and spend the months or years putting together the data security systems? So do not use DeepSeek for any private confidential information. You could play around with it. It's kind of fun to be able to see how it reasons. And, unfortunately, with DeepSeek, it's very difficult to get it to work because it's under attack, malicious actors, or potentially just cannot handle the traffic. So it's a very general prompt. Let's see if it's even going to give us any information back or whether or not the system is still bogged down, which again is another problem. You can't, as a business person, rely on a system that has such spotty availability. We know with OpenAI, all day long, I get notifications of certain problems they're having and fixes that they're putting in place. 98% of the time it works, 2% it doesn't. So far with DeepSeek, 98% of the time it doesn't work and 2% it does. So eventually, potentially, they'll get their act together and they'll be able to offer what has been a pretty impressive display of large language model and analytical capabilities. But for now, play with it. Don't rely on it.